or suffers and still does not understand the truth. So this is really what the word of Jesus is. It is harder than the eye of the needle. It's very, very hard. Okay, so we left them, and hereafter we were not responding to the people to visit them in person. We just tried to keep the conversation on the phone, and essentially not to go further down into it. I did a lot of study on the writing of the Bab. I collected lots of writings. I spent thousands of dollars, bought them, got them from all over the world. I spent money to type it. I myself corrected all the typings, and then I compared it with the other copies and wrote down the differences between the two different copies. And I made a search and investigation to find out all the quotations that Bab, His Holiness, referring to. It's amazing that in Iran I could never find those writings, but in Canada I happen to have them. And clearly Bab, in all of his writings, especially his last book, which would be his testament, the Book of Names, in thousands and thousands of places, clearly refers to baha'u'llah as the one who's coming after him immediately. It was very nice to study those things. I have those books. Probably one day I will publish it, but I do not think it's necessary at the moment to do anything about it. I shall give it in the hand of the Universal House of Guardianship to do whatever they want to do with it later on. So we're reaching closer to the year 2007, and I was on the job site. If I have a story, scaffolding. It was a Saturday. We brought everything down on the very last scaffold, which would be not more than 8 foot. And in the most amazing way, the lumber that I was sitting on, it just turned in front of my eye. Lumber turned that way, which was put, the width of the scaffold. It went towards the length of the scaffold, and it just dropped down, and I kept myself together rigidly, and I landed on my toes. The plywood went onto, I think, a stone or something under it, and I just heard a big cracked like that into my back. I fell down, and essentially I broke lumbar number 5. For 2 hours I was on the floor. My face was in the mud. No one was helping me. It was the most awful pain that I think I've experienced in my life. And finally they came. They took me all the way to, from Guelph to Guelph, they took me to St. Michael Hospital. Dr. Ginsberg, a very, very beautiful, doctor. They did the surgery, and then they found out something was wrong. They had to redo it again after 2 days. And I came down to the hospital. After I think 10 days, they took me, 10-15 days, they took me back to Guelph. And I got seriously sick. C. difficile, I think, and those kind of things. I got into hospital because I was using a lot of antibiotic, and I created an obsessed, into my system. I was totally dying, and I saw the death in front of me, and I had to go back again, I think after a month. I had to go visit the doctor, and he of course saw this, and he told me that it's terrible. I don't know how this could have happened to you. They had to do another surgery. More than 750 milligrams of germ they took out of my body. It was a terrible time. And all these times I had not a single person to help me out. Not a single person. Only person that could help me was Lisa. She was 24 hours staying into the hospital, that everyone was amazed that why is she not sleeping overnight in the chair, and in the morning 6-7 o'clock she takes the car, come down to golf, get the guys, go to do the work, be with them, they finish up the job, comes back again, all night stay with me. Without her I would be dead for sure. So this was the dream that baha'u'llah told me to bring her to me. I saw that. This was a back burner. Baha'u'llah wanted her because knew this is going to happen to me. And of course Tawheed, who said to bring her back. I remember at those days that I had some Armenian in Iran, was 18. She asked me to drink from some coffee. I never believed in these things. And she read my coffee, fortune. And she told me that you are going, passing the great waters. She meant I'm going back to Canada or Australia, to US. It was very, far-fetched those days at age 18, but she said that's going to happen, and then I will have at age 50, she said. A huge surgery. I won't die, but it's a big operation, she said to me. And told me that I'm walking in the lane and there's stones coming from both sides thrown at me, and there's one white bird on my head that warns me, and I dodge the stones. It's amazing that it happened. So when I came in this house that you're seeing right now, I seriously spoke to Baha'u'llah that why is this happening? That I had a vision of him again. In the vision I was protecting him against the others that they might want to kidnap him or kill him. And he was patiently listening to me. And then a few times he got the wrist in my hand and he said, Abbas, it will be okay, it will be okay. So these terrible things happened to me in November. In October, I think 11 of 2007, continued about 2-3 months because I was in this house having this Vaseline attached to my body for a month to get rid of all the germs. And finally I came back, and I can't believe right now at age 55 I climbed the ladder. It's like I'm okay and doing this. Oh my God. So when this happened, of course, I decided to understand this dilemma with the Universal House of Justice. And I sent a letter to them telling them that I'm essentially ashamed to be calling myself even a Baha'i, much less as an elder. I'm quitting from being an elder. I don't want to be. I'm letting you to know, but I cannot get back my ideology, because that is not my ideology. It is what Baha'i faith is. I cannot change my philosophy, my ideology. But personally myself, I won't say nothing myself, nobody. So they sent one guy, then it changed to another one, and then this good fellow, Mr. Abdul Misaq Qadirian, I think the consular, which by the fight I think we had with me, he lost his consularship, but they reinstated him to deal with this matter because he had done before. He came to Toronto, we went and talked to him. He was a good guy. Much reminds me of the Catholic Church, those dioceses or those priests. Exactly, gives me the same creeps, whenever I see these Baha'is and the authoritative figures as a man, He came and talked to me. He said, okay, Universal House of Justice wants you to shut down your website. I called the website. I said that temporarily I want it off, but not fully. I'm not cutting it off, just temporarily. Then they said, we don't want your 1-800 number also. I called Bell Canada. I said, temporarily it's off. Temporarily, though. I said, what else you want? So I told him everything they want, we're going to do it. Let's stop this, and I'm quitting. I wanted to see what makes these people satisfied, to see where are we going to get to this. He then asked other things. I told him, listen, you keep saying Universal House of Justice says this and that and that and that. Why can't you give me a list of this are what Universal House of Justice wants, A to Z, and we'll do it. Can you ask them to do this? And I was there with Lisa. He said Universal House of Justice, the member of Universal House of Justice, they do not want to talk to infidels. That's what he says. The word kafir, he said. I told him, if I'm infidels, according to you, and they don't want to talk to me as an infidel, why then bother even responding to me? Why then bother to send you to me? Think about what you say. I said, Mr. Ghadirian, I have hardly believed that Universal House of Justice has said I am infidel. I cannot believe those 9 people get together to come up with this decision. I simply give them more credit than that. If they knew I'm infidel, they wouldn't even care to contact me or to talk to me. Coming and contacting with me and asking me to do those things. For what? That I'm an infidel, decided about it, that they don't want to talk to me? Why would Universal House of Justice then send you to here if they don't want to talk to me? I said, to me, I think Universal House of Justice is a hostage to you people. There are people that they're making conspiracy, and some of them I heard that he told me that it's all under the Mossad of the Israel and Israelis. I said, this is absolutely absurd. If there is anything, Israelis would love to see the number of Baha'is becomes more, because if there are more Baha'is, more people are going to Israel. For a tourist-wise, economic-wise, it's beneficial to them. Why wouldn't they stop the spread of Baha'i faith? And you are stopping the spread of Baha'i faith. So, I cannot accept the government of Israel or any government in the world except that of Iran and some other countries. They wouldn't like the Baha'i faith to propagate and increase. My ideology is acceptable to a lot of people. I just increase the number of Baha'i faith. So, I said the hostage is, brother, by some of you. I'm suspicious of Iranian more than anybody else. That God knows what's happening. You know, there could be the element of the Catholic Church. I believe Vatican is possible to do these things because they don't want any religion takes over, especially the Baha'i faith. So it makes sense to me that they work on a person for a long, long time, and he has ties and suits and he writes books, and then gradually enters into the administrative order and goes up. I can't be the enemy of the Baha'i faith because everybody knows me. But the enemies are from within, in my opinion, that they're up there, and then gradually they go to Universal and 1, number 2, different 3, 4, 5, and then they get there and they plan on us. So I like to say to you right now, listeners, I'm the elder of God, and I stand on my word right up to get executed, goes under the gallows. I won't change. I promise to baha'u'llah